I like to consider chipping putting with loft. Everybody has a putting stroke they're familiar using. What we're going to do today is transfer that motion into a lofted club. I have here a sand wedge, about a 54-degree sand wedge. I'm going to make some practice strokes just like my putting swing. You can use your putting stroke, or you can use your normal swing where your fingers may interlock or overlap. This is a motion where I'm trying to make it similar to a putting stroke, where I go straight back and straight through the golf ball, brushing the ground along the way. A good thought to remember is that I want to strike the ball and then the grass. Ideally, you want to use the bottom edge of the sole of the club to feel against the ground. If we get into a thin shot where the ball hits the middle of the club, we're going to lose control of our distance, and if we break that club down early and hit ground, our club is going to bounce into the golf ball. With this stance, I'm going to set up like my putting stroke. I've selected my grip, and I'm going to begin to rock my shoulders in a pendulum motion, much like a putting stroke. The feeling in my hands is of an underhand toss, so that when I follow through, I can still see the face of my golf club. If you look up on your follow through and your club face angle is changed or is not pointing at the sky, we know we've decreased the loft or changed the direction of that golf ball. Think about when you hit a putt, your follow through will follow through with a straight leading edge pointing at the hole versus the hands turned over like they're on a steering wheel. Once we've brushed the ground and determined our contact point, I'm going to set up the rest of my body. I feel pretty level with my shoulders, trying to match the ground. If I have a downhill chip, my shoulders are matching the hill. If I have an uphill chip, I'm trying to match the slope of the terrain as well. So I set my arms in and let them hang loosely, and I begin to rock my shoulders back and forth. As I take my practice strokes, I'm just laying down blades of grass. There's no real divot taken here. We're going to use this motion up to the point of comfort. We're going to take a few swings, and as we get too far back, we're going to feel our body want to raise or compensate. At that point, we're moving into pitching. Now that we've determined our chipping stroke, now we need to determine how far to hit the ball. What we're going to do is pick 3 different golf clubs. I have a 7-iron, a pitching wedge, and a sand wedge. 3 different lofted clubs. Each one is going to hit the ball a different percentage in the air and a different percentage on the ground. Let's start with the pitching wedge. We're going to call that our 50-50 club. This club's going to spend 50% of the time in the air and 50% of the time rolling to the target along the ground. From there, we'll work downwards. My 7-iron is only going to spend 25% in the air, and it's going to roll 75% to the hole. On the opposite end, my sand wedge, maybe even my lob wedge, is going to fly in the air about 75% and then roll the remaining 25%. That's going to help us choose what club to hit. If I have to go over a bunker, if I have a very narrow landing area between myself and the flag stick, I need to choose the correct club to execute the proper shot. I've selected my 7-iron for my long running shot. I've got plenty of room for the ball to roll up the green and nothing in front of me. I set up exactly like we determined beforehand, and I picked my target area to be about 25% of the way. I've determined that I've got a long ways to run this ball and nothing in front of me to hinder it. I've selected my 7-iron for the shot, and I plan on flying it 25% of the way and rolling it the remaining 75%. I take my same putting position, thinking of where I want this ball to land. The next shot we'll discuss is my 50-50 club or my pitching wedge. This one's going to fly half of the way to the hole, and it's going to roll the remainder. My final shot is my 75-25 club, which is a sand wedge, possibly even your lob wedge. We're setting up with the same format, ball in the middle, setting up for my putting stroke, and I'm looking to fly this ball 75% of the way to the hole. With very little roll at the end, this is a shot you can get aggressive on.